Hello and welcome back again to another episode of Dragon Age Origins. So, in the last episode, Alice and myself managed to escape from the dungeon after being imprisoned by Logain's men. And I believe now we just need to return back to Al-Eman. But before that, there's one thing that I wanted to show because before starting this episode, I read up on my codex updates and I read all the entries that I acquired at Alhaus Estate, and I thought this one was actually kind of hilarious. It's basically a recipe for fluffy mackerel pudding. Now I have no idea how a mackerel pudding is supposed to look like, but the recipe doesn't sound so bad actually. I'm almost inclined to cook it now. Although it doesn't really have any instructions on how to actually make it. It's just, the ingredients. But still, it's kind of funny that they would include that. Alright. I think his estate was over here, right. Let's just go back and, yeah, let's see what Queen Anora has to say after all this. Alright. Here we are again. Okay, there she is.
Maker's breath. It's good to see you in one piece, my friend.
Indeed.
Yeah.
After your rather alarming lack of subtlety, I feared the worst for you. I prayed for your safe return.
Well, well. Yeah, that's so sweet. It almost makes me want to kill you less.
Well, what did you expect me to do? You announced me to my father's most trusted lackey. Did the purpose of my disguise entirely escape you? I barely managed to slip away from her when we reached the palace. I am hoping that, despite our unfortunate beginning, we can still work together. Will you hear me out?
Well, what was I supposed to do? I mean, they would have found you anyway once they had, killed us or, overpowered us. I promise
We will
nothing.
need to work together, and quickly. My father has gone mad. I didn't believe it at first, but he is gripped by a paranoia so severe it prevents him from seeing sense. He saw me as a threat, yet even now I'm certain he will be telling the nobles you are dangerous murderers that have kidnapped and mind-controlled me. He may even believe it.
So, can he still take the throne without you?
Perhaps. It will be more difficult for him, but if my father says the Grey Wardens are the enemy, many will believe it. He is a legend.
It's true. Our position in the Landsmeet is not strong, and this does little to help us.
At least that snake Howe is dead. That alone will not be enough, however. My father is committed to his path. You will need ammunition for the Landsmeet, and there I can help. You have only just arrived in the city, so perhaps you are unaware of some recent events. Denerim has been in turmoil since Ostagar. Many people here are angry or grieving. Strangely, the unrest is worst in the alienage. Few elves accompanied the army. They should have little reason to be upset, which means that Howe and my father must have given them reason. I don't know what is happening there, but I am certain my father has his hands in it.
A useful lead, Anora, but you could have sent this information with your maid.
That is true. I feared for my safety as Howe's prisoner. But to tell the truth, I sent Erlina to you because I hoped we might join forces. You need that evidence for the Landsmeet. But you also need a stronger candidate for the throne. You need me.
And we should trust you. Why?
You don't need to trust me. We have the same goal.
What do
That
we?
is far better than trust. I have no doubt Alistair is biddable enough, and decent, but even with his blood, he is no king. You think only I can see it? Not only that, Alistair is a Grey Warden. It will look like you are trying to put a Grey Warden on the throne, despite your claims. I am a neutral party, and I am already queen.
Honora, you are indeed Kaelin's widow, but
I am the daughter of Ferelden's greatest general. Who do you think truly ruled this nation for the last 5 years? Kaelin. I am what this country needs, not an untrained king who does not even want the throne. I can help you stop my father. Consider what I have said. For now, I think I will retire to my room. Warden, when you have a moment, I ask that you speak to me in private.
I don't know. I would hardly consider you neutral.
well, she's quite spirited. I remember when Loghain first brought her to Denerim. Poor Galen was a good boy, but Honora was always 2 steps ahead. Had him jumping when she snapped since the first time she batted her eyelashes. I cannot help thinking she may be trouble, but we should keep her close, all the same.
Oh, she will be trouble. She will be trouble. But why do you think she's trouble?
This is an alliance of convenience. For the moment, we are united against Loghain. Be careful how much trust you place in her. I do not for a moment think Honora means to give up her power easily. Still, I would rather have her where we can watch her than actively working for Loghain.
All right. Yeah, let us talk about something else.
We certainly have a great deal to plan.
What do you think he's doing in the alienage?
Maker knows what that man is capable of now.
I've got work to do.
Of course, if I might make a suggestion, go speak with Honora. She will either be a powerful ally or a powerful enemy, and the sooner we know which she is, the better.
New quest, unrest in the alienage. Queen Honora has told you about unrest in the alienage. She suspects that Loghain and Howe have done something to greatly upset the elves. Investigate the alienage and see if you can find out what Loghain has been up to. Alright. So, Alistair, do you have anything more to say now except the state of the dining room?
I haven't been here in a while.
No.
They've changed the dining room.
Alright.
Ask away.
Let's see.
Of course.
No. Oh, but look who's here. Jordan.
Hello again, friend. It looks as though you're no worse for wear after your stay in Fort Draken.
Could you tell me about that vault again?
It's located just off the Market District in the northern alley past the Nord Noble Tavern. I'll sketch out the code which will let you pass the Lockwheel. Inside you can take your pick of whatever equipment remains. It is the stockpile the Wardens have kept for centuries, for the defense of Denerim.
Alright. Did you know Duncan very well?
We went through our joining together, more years ago than I like to remember. He was exactly the same back then, tough as stone and just as grizzled. I think he understood sooner than the rest of us how ugly a choice it is to let the few be sacrificed to protect the many. Always left himself a soft spot for his recruits, though. Only where he ever let himself down.
I was hoping I could learn a bit more about Grey Wardens.
Well, I'd be happy to tell you what I know, but it seems to me that you've picked the important parts up yourself. Be firm in your beliefs, protect people from their own ignorance, and be as loyal as you can to your brothers, even knowing you'll share their deaths.
How many Wardens are there?
It's tough to say. Only the fortress in Weishaupt has every record. But there are certainly a few dozen or hundreds in every nation in Thedas. The Anderfells are home to over 1,000. It's almost like the Archdemon chose Ferelden deliberately, knowing how unguarded it is.
Have you ever been to the fortress in Weishaupt?
Once only, and I'd rather not go again. It's far, lass, and very foreign. The Wardens there, they fight Darkspawn like you and me, but they're shaped by the winters there and the forest. They're a cold group and don't care like they should about the rest of the world. Their king is weak, and many Anders look to the Wardens to rule. I hate to say this, but some of them seem to want it that way.
How were the Wardens founded?
It was near 1,200 years ago, and no one knows for sure, except that it began with a group of Anders soldiers. Apparently they defected from their king's army, vowing that fighting the Blight was more important, and traveled all the way to Tevinter themselves. They were the first ones to track down the Archdemon Dumat, and the ones to slay him, although none survived the battle. But they had picked up followers by then, and it was they who formally founded the Order, and were recognized by Thedas.
Why has it been so long since the last Blight?
Archdemons don't awaken on their own, you know. It takes the Darkspawn, tunneling and tunneling, searching for centuries to find one. And with no one to lead them, it must be sheer chance, or maybe instinct, which leads them. What's surprising isn't that it takes so long between Blights. What's surprising is that they succeed at all. But I imagine the old gods call to them. And it's that voice in the darkness which drives them through so many generations.
Alright, I guess that's all for now.
The important thing to remember is, none of that matters. When you're facing Darkspawn, all you need to know is to stop them at all costs.
Alright, let's see. Okay, so Honora is somewhere over here. Okay, fine, I guess I'll talk to her. But, lady, we are not up to a good start, you and me.
Hello again, Warden. It is good that you came to speak with me. I realize that my actions at Howe's estate may not have painted me in the best light. For that, I apologize and hope that we can start again. First, let me say that I knew your family. Eleanor, in particular, was dear to me, and what Howe did was unforgivable.
Yeah.
How fitting
Don't try
he
to
died
butter
at
my
your
bread.
hands. I will be blunt. I can see that your voice will be a strong one in days to come. It is to you that Eamon listens, and with good reason. My father must be stopped, but once that is done, Ferelden will need a ruler. I would welcome your support for my throne.
So why should I support you?
For years, I have ruled this kingdom as Kaelin's queen. As much as they loved Kaelin, all of the Banon knew this to be so. Kaelin was a good man, but what is needed now is not another good man, but a good ruler. I sent Alina here not solely because I thought I needed help, but because I saw an opportunity for us both. I need your support, Warden, and you will need mine.
So you think you are a better candidate than Alistair?
Do you disagree? You are a fellow Grey Warden. What do you think of Alistair's potential to rule? Never mind his willingness.
Yeah, this is very true. Being a good ruler requires more than ambition. Actually, I mean, people who actively crave power are very often not the ones who are best suited to wield it. And sometimes it's good to put power on someone who doesn't really want it, because they are less likely to abuse it. So, I agree with that.
Alistair seems like a kind, well-meaning man, and biddable enough. These are admirable qualities, if not kingly ones. He also seems to be a fine Grey Warden, which is exactly why he should remain one and serve the kingdom by defeating the Darkspawn.
A kind king who is a fine warrior sounds good to me.
Oh, there are some who would follow Alistair out of respect for his Therin blood. The others would see this as Eamon grabbing for power. Who else do you think Alistair would turn to for help? Eventually, the nobility would return to the old days of constant warring with each other. Alistair's weakness would destroy everything Merrick built.
You don't seem to like Alistair much.
My feelings towards Alistair have nothing to do with it. I barely know him. I simply believe that I am what this country needs. I will fight for what I believe. Would Alistair do the same? Thus, I say again, I would welcome your support for the throne if you would give it.
So, are you proposing an alliance?
That is exactly what I am proposing. When the time comes, you support my bid in the Landsmeet to remain on the throne. You will be seen as my father's enemy, yet you will be in support of his daughter. You will be seen as supporting the interests of Ferelden, as opposed to solely those of the Grey Wardens. In return, I add my voice to yours. Do you see? Together we can do what alone we cannot.
Why not simply marry Alistair? So what happens to Loghain if you are queen?
He is my father, as well as a great general, who has served his nation well until now. If there is a way for him to live, I would prefer it.
Justice must be done, don't you think?
I will always be my father's daughter, but even I know he must pay for his crimes. It will not make me glad, even so. Does that affect your decision? Can we yet come to an arrangement?
Alright, here's the deal. I do not doubt her qualities to lead as a ruling queen. I think she would be quite capable. I mean, apparently she already has been the de facto ruler of the country while Cailan was king. However, I think this woman is utterly ruthless. And we have already seen, if it serves her own advantage, she knows neither loyalty nor gratitude. So I think once we made her queen, she will show us no loyalty and no gratitude either. Now this may not be such a big deal for Skadi, but I fear that it will be a very big problem for Alistair, because he is just by his continued existence a threat to anyone who would be king or queen in his place. I mean, it wasn't such a big deal as long as Cailan was still alive. I mean, he was just the royal bastard that wasn't interested in the throne in the first place, and there was a rightful heir, so people didn't really care about him. But now he is the last one of the royal bloodline. And somehow I highly doubt that Nora would accept that. And I mean, Al-Eamon more or less has thrown Alistair's head into the ring, and I'm afraid Alistair can't get out of that anymore. I think he either becomes king, or he will get killed by the next ruler, because they couldn't allow such a threat to their regency to continue to exist. So, as much as I think she would be a capable leader, and she does make some good points, I honestly feel that I'm bound by loyalty to not support her, because if she became queen, such as it is, that would be bad. It would be bad for Alistair. So, no, I can't support you.
Ah, that's too bad.
I have some questions.
Ask me whatever you like.
Does it make you uncomfortable siding against your father?
Of course it does. Do you think me heartless?
Yeah,
but how
I
much
kinda
worse
do.
would I be to calmly stay at the side of a man who murdered my husband?
Yeah, we should tell people what really happened to Cailan.
They would not believe it, most of them, even from my lips. Loghain is a hero they've looked up to their whole lives. Far easier to believe you or me a liar than him a murderer and tyrant. That's why it will be critical to find some way to discredit him before the Landsmeet. We must have proof of my father's crimes for the bands, or they will never believe us.
So why did Loghain leave Cailan to die, do you know?
Cailan was so idealistic. The world was his storybook, and he was the hero. My father is different. He's an idealist too, but he knows what idealism costs. They often clashed, but never seriously, never for long. Cailan would always come round to Father's way of thinking eventually. And then the Blight came. Cailan dreamed of uniting all the nations of Thedas against the Darkspawn. It was a dream he wouldn't surrender. What my father saw, however, was the boy he had swaddled inviting Orlesian troops back into the land he had fought to free of them. And for once, my poor, foolish husband wouldn't back down.
I don't think it was so foolish. I mean, if you look at the Grey Wardens, there's one thing that is very striking about them, and that's the fact that you have all kinds of people in the Grey Wardens. I mean, in the introduction sequence of the game, they explain to you, you know, we have mages and warriors and people of all nations and of all races and nobility and commoners and all working together to fight against the Blight. And normally all these different factions, they always fight each other. And I think the whole moral of the story is that you have to work together. I mean, I've been spending all the game trying to unite the different races and the different people. And that is essentially what Cailan was trying to do when he contacted the Orlesians. And, you know, trying to get them to fight side by side against the Blight, which seems perfectly reasonable to me. And in the end it was Logain's xenophobia and distrust of Orlesians that kinda ruined this. And he probably should have, you know, agreed to that, and maybe we would be in a very different place now. So, another question.
Ask me whatever you like.
What do you think will happen after the Lands meet?
Do you want me to try my luck at fortune-telling? There was an old woman who read palms in the village of Gwarren when I was a child. She told me that I would have 10 children and be bald as a winter heath when I grew up. I can't say I put much faith in foretelling.
All right.
What will happen depends much on you, Warden. But you certainly knew that already.
I'd like to understand Logain better, if possible.
Well, he was once a farmer when he was a boy, if you can believe it. I never could myself. He's useless with plants, for one thing. I remember my mother once asking his help with a sick rose vine. My mother oversaw the rose gardens personally. He touched it. No more than that. And it shed half its leaves like a dog with mange. She never asked for him to help with her roses again. He bought her another one, though. He carried it back from Denerim with the branches overflowing his saddlebag. Despite the thorns tearing him bloody, he wouldn't let anyone else take it. He wanted to be the one to present it to her. My father has his faults, Warden, but he is far from common.
Yeah, why would he have ever trusted Alhau? I mean, seriously.
Trust would perhaps be putting it too strongly. My father knew what Howe was, and while I despised the man, I knew that father relied on his political mind. I expect my father thought himself above being influenced by the snake. Truly, I wonder how many of these acts stemmed from Howe and not my father at all.
You're making it too
never
easy.
know.
I mean, if you choose to reside in the company of snakes like Alhau, then you aren't really a good person yourself. So, did he plan overthrowing Cailan before Ostagar? Personally, I think he did, but let's see what she has to say about that.
I'm not sure. I had no inkling of my father's plans until Cailan was already dead. I would like to think that my father planned for the worst, but did not truly decide that Cailan was a lost cause until that moment in Ostagar. The alternative is difficult to imagine.
So is it truly beyond reason?
I hope not, but I fear it is so, yes.
So why doesn't Logain back down?
Because he believes he is right, Warden. He thinks he is the only one who can see Ferelden out of its current crisis, even if it is one he helped engineer. My father is capable of remarkable blindness, but it stems from his love of Ferelden. That is the saddest part of all, I think.
Alright, is there anything else
Ask me
I can
whatever you
ask?
like.
Nope, I should go.
Then I wish you luck, Warden.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting discussion, but I mean, I already explained why I believe that Logain had this planned out all along, because it just didn't seem possible to be something that he just decided spontaneously during the battle. Alright, that was a long discussion with Anora. So I guess we will now continue to investigate. Let's leave the estate first. Yeah, I will
Yes.
probably keep Alistair in my company a lot during the rest of the game because I feel he will become more important to the story in the next missions.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, but before I go to the alienage, I think I can turn in some few quests. Let me have a look at my... Alright, yes, I found the missing Templar. Actually, I found several, and this is the missing Templar, and this is the missing veteran, and I can turn both of that in. Alright, let me quickly head over to the Chanter and deliver that. Yep.
All men are the
Yes,
work
yes,
of
yes.
our Maker's hand. From the lowest
Those stung with 100 arrows, those suffering from ailments both great and small, his heart was strong, and he moved on.
by the Maker.
Okay.
Bring ham.
Let's have another look at my quests. I still have no way of knowing where this sextant is, so I will just keep this for now. Okay, this is something in the alienage. Yes, I can tell Ban Sieghart about his hot's imprisonment. And I need to deliver the signet ring. I just wonder where this would be.
The Maker does not bread sinners.
I need to find these two persons so I can deliver the rings to them. But I probably... Yeah, let me do this next episode. I'm going to end the episode now. And in the next episode I will try to find out what to do with these quests. And maybe I can finish my remaining side quests as well. Yeah, I can definitely do this one. Brazilian Forest. Okay, so there's still a little bit of stuff to do before I continue to the alienage. So we're going to do this next time. So see you again in the next episode.